Hello, hello, good morning, welcome to Pieces of Pat Paints. I'm Pat. I paint the pieces. Sorry, I felt like I was about to cough. I'm probably not. It's this weird thing I have. I don't know. It's why I'm here instead of in restaurants, which is what I used to do before I retired and became a painter. So living the dream around here, and like actually living a dream in a way. I always wanted to be an artist. Like when I was little, I wanted to be an archaeologist and an artist and an astronaut, like all at the same time. Like somehow, I don't know. I guess I was gonna be like Tony Stark, but an artist, or guess I don't know. But I fell into chef world, and then I developed a laryngeal spasm, and I can't be around smoke anymore. So I can't work in kitchens. So I do this, and some of you guys and gals, you find this and they them's and whatever's, because there's all sorts of stuff out there now. I guess I'm old. Yeah, some of you folks find this super entertaining, which is cool. I'm gonna keep doing it. So if you're gonna keep watching it, I'll be here. At least until they shut down my internet or whatever. Oh, we're supposed to turn on this one. Hold on, turn on that. And we're gonna turn on that. Boom. If I can get all of this to work right, I am technologically challenged. For folks that have been on the show for a long time, they know that I am severely technologically challenged. When it comes to computers and stuff like that, it's not my gig. So bear with me if there's mistakes and errors. I totally own them. I own them because that's what I do. I think people should own more things these days. There's a lot of folks out there that just won't own up to like their own whatevers, and it's so weird. People are strange, guys. People are strange. Okay, so good morning, Sir McBeardsly. Thanks for the videos, by the way. Those little shorts definitely helped me take a kind of look at what we're doing here. This sculpture is that scene where she lights the tree on fire. So that first video you sent me was super, super helpful. Because this is from that scene. Now that I've seen what we're looking at, I know what we're doing. I think this is not a brown. It just looks brown in a lot of the screenshots. I think this is actually like a darker gray, like a Payne's gray. So I think we're going to kind of bring a little bit of that in. I like that we went ahead and did the brown base coats. And I think we're going to keep it brown kind of underneath this white here. We're just going to bring a little bit, of gray into it. Just a little bit. Maybe even more like, I don't know. We're going to bring some gray in. We've got plenty of room for it. This stuff here was also like sort of a gray, but a darker gray. So like as I kind of looked at it, and it's really hard to kind of pin it down, honestly. And it's Melina. I finally finally got the name right. So like this one here. So now, okay, so when you look at this one, it's more like a lighter grayish blue is what we're really working with. So it's good to have had that brown kind of on top because there is some brown in all of that. But I'm really seeing this is more like grayish blues, which makes me think Payne's gray. So I think that's what we're going to go with. Works for me. I think everybody knows how much I love a little Payne's gray. We were already working with that a little bit, so I don't want my brushes. And I'll tell you what, I'm really impressed with this monument. We were talking about this on the Discord for my local hobby store where I bought this guy at, and it's pretty nice little brush. A lot of people didn't think it held up enough held enough paint, but I don't mind coming back to get paint. I feel like some people want a brush to act like an ink pen, and that's just kind of not. That is definitely not, not how that works. Again, you'd want to use a Payne's Gray to make this because of the blue tint to it. We're going to drop a pretty dark coat first, and then we'll come back and we'll add some highlights. Once we kind of get going through this, we'll know whether or not we want it to be, you know, how much darker or lighter we really want it to go. Especially like right in there, we may end up wanting to come back and go ahead and bring that up, because this finished color here is going to be way lighter than what we're dropping down right now. But we've got to get all these valleys filled in first. Yeah, that was pretty funny. I definitely think about see if I can find a Hot Wheels or something, because that's hilarious. It's a pretty good joke. And this guy likes a good joke, so he probably think it's funny. That's kind of the fun part about doing commission work, is you kind of get to know a client. It's good stuff. I like it better than cooking for people. I mean, I had some really great people I cooked for, and that was all well and great. The people who make it tough, oh gosh. But with like commission painting, like you wouldn't have to, you have to put up with that crap. And like, oh yeah, well, nope. Yeah, I like that brown tone underneath though. That's really gonna pay off for us in the end. Try to keep it super thin. I'm ready to do this. So the printer, I think something has damaged the LCD screen. Hold on, let me go get. So check this out. This is interesting. I'm trying to figure out this problem. Go on. So you can see right here where there's something's been happening and it's just not printing properly. So it should look more like these. I tried not to take them off so we could look at this, because I was like, oh, this might be interesting to do on the show. So like something right here and on there, you can see something's wrong with the build plate itself. Okay, now I looked to see, I checked it for burrs, I sanded it down a little bit. You know, some people are really rough on these build plates, and I can be a little bit rough. I try not to be. You know, there weren't any burrs or anything like that. This will all pop off fine, no problem. But this stuff right here, I don't know what that is. I've cleaned the deal, changed a bunch of stuff. I've redone all the maintenance stuff to it, and it's still malfunctioning. Changed my settings, still malfunctioning. So this has got to be from some sort of damage to the LCD screen. What kind of damage it is, I don't know. I don't know if it's a seating problem. Maybe it needs to. Maybe it's not set up properly, and I got to reseat it, or whatever. But this is the third time it's done this, so now I know for sure it's some sort of issue. And I've done all the maintenance things, and you can see it trying to do it, but it just can't. It's like it's overprinting or something. I don't know. It's a very interesting. That's an interesting malfunction. I haven't actually found this malfunction yet online with anybody who does these things. But it's like it's trying to print a full slap of stuff on there. So I don't know. Anybody who watches these videos that knows anything about 3D printing has ever encountered this problem and knows what this is, holla at me. I think I'm going to replace my LCD screen. I'm probably going to pull it apart, take a look at what's inside there. Maybe do that on live. I don't know if anybody would want to watch that. Y'all let me know if that's something that sounds interesting. But if not, I could just do like maybe an update short or something like that. We're doing an update on what's going on with the printer. I don't know. I'm not very, again, like all this stuff is kind of new to me. So you guys let me know what kind of works. What you think works the best. Anybody who watches these videos and make a comment what you think. I'm thinking it's probably something's malfunctioned with the LCD screen itself, whether it's damaged or malfunctioning. And we probably are going to have to replace the LCD screen. It should not be the first time I've had to replace an LCD screen on this printer. You know, I print off a bunch of stuff. So when you print off stuff all the time, it wears stuff out. And I'm wondering if maybe something, I don't know, maybe something got caught in there and I didn't notice it, and maybe like pushed the screen, or maybe the plate wasn't leveled right and somehow it pushed the screen. And maybe the screen's just offset and it's got to be rebalanced. I've reset the build plate a dozen times, and that all seems like it checks out. So it's like, huh? So it's a very strange error. I've been trying to figure out what the error is for a while. Oh, but I did get. I did manage to get some stuff printed off on a little printer. So we now have, I think we have both legs now, thank goodness. So we now have both legs, so there we go. Now we can kind of see about how tall she's really going to be. She's big and skinny. Her torso is crazy long. It's like this thing's like all the way up, almost underneath her stomach. I guess it'll make more sense when we have the cloak. But we got to figure out what's wrong with the printer before we print that cloak, because the cloak's going to take up the whole build plate, and so will the base. So the problem comes down to, like, we've got to fix the machine before in order to do some of the next parts of this. I also got her other arm done, so we've got that. So yeah, no, this thing is like way up high on her. It's a little strange. It should be like it should end right about there and start right about there. That's okay. It's gonna look cute. I guess it just makes it look like she's wearing a little girl's dress, which is probably the idea. And then these flame thingies stick on her somehow. I think this one goes here. So like I said, this is the moment she's on fire. And some of these did not get printed properly. This one did. I don't know exactly where they all go yet. Probably need to get them all printed off first, and then figure it out. But anyway, this one, because you can see on this one, okay. So this was sitting right at the edge of where that building. Yeah. Well, like I said, bro, like I look like I've been researching. I've been looking at it. Like it's been bothering me because I gotta get this printed. And I was like, what is wrong with this thing? And I can't find this error in places I've been looking at. I thought they posted on a forum and see if anybody knows anything. I feel like there's some sort of damage. Because I did, like I said, I did all the typical maintenance and reset things, and none of that. It's continuing to do the same thing in the same. Now it's the same place. It's the same place. I thought it was moving around at first, but I think I was messing my own head on that one, and that it wasn't moving, and it was all kind of in the same place. And then I just felt like it was moving, or maybe I just wanted it to be moving. You know how we do that as humans. We decide that something is happening because we want it to be that way. These are interesting. I think they're probably going to have to be... I don't think they're going to fit in those holes. We're going to probably have to do a little bit of file work. But anyway, we didn't get the back of her hair either. That was part of the failures. But since we've got to get her cloak, we've got to worry about her head anyway. Should be all right. I'm just glad we got her legs. Legs are nice. It's good. That's a good step. Like I said, one way or another, I'll figure it out. I always figure things out. Just sometimes it takes a while. Sometimes it takes too long. And in my opinion, sometimes I spend too long trying to figure out a problem. Probably everybody feels that way, though. That's probably a common feeling. We all want to, well, most people want to strive for success. You know, we want to do well. Some people just don't care, but, you know, that notwithstanding, in general, humans want to do well in the things that they choose to do. That might be a touch too thin. So you can see how it's, okay, see how it's kind of like not sticking. That is a good sign that maybe you put too much water in it. So you're gonna have to be careful with your strokes. You're not gonna go too long of strokes, or it'll break the surface tension of the paint. So yes, there is such a thing as too thin when it comes to paint versus a wash. Now that would make a great wash if you're trying to fill a crack or something like that. Crevices and such, that would definitely work. But this is probably going to pool a bit too much for us. I gotta remember to grab that as I'm going. I always end up having to go back at the end and flip it over and do it. It's better to just do it all at once. Gotta keep getting myself organized. Reset. this army painter brush. It's an interesting brush. I know I haven't gotten any paint in that fold yet, and it's starting to kind of, you can see it already kind of starting to fray. Not even really separating, it is more like a fraying. I mean, it's well enough fine for this sort of thing here, but I don't know that you would want to count on this for like super high details. You definitely want to go to a better brush. I'm not sure I like this shape either. This triangle shape is an interesting, that's an interesting thing. Well, hello, Andre. Nice to see you. And we're working on Elden Ring again. So back from our hiatus into the grim dark future of 40K. And get this one figured out, and then we've got I gotta do, is it America? Is that the, I think that's the big goddess person, right? America. She seems like a super easy paint job, but I really want to try to like level up my flesh game on that one. Oh yeah, sweet. My Xbox is too old for Space Marine 2. It won't play it. So I gotta wait till I have enough money to get a better Xbox, which is, I don't know if that's ever actually gonna be a thing. I don't play a lot of video games. I used to love it. It used to be like my deal. But now, like if I play video games, it's probably Minecraft with my kiddos. Like I had kids out of school last week, and we played a lot of Minecraft. Okay, so again, thin to win here, thin to win. We're trying to just put a coat of this on. We don't want to obscure all that brown. I want to kind of let the brown fade through that. And then we're going to come back with a dry brush, and we'll knock out all the highlights. Try to make sure to keep your brush strokes pretty in line. When you're talking about thinner paints, or anyway, any paint really, long surfaces like this, the key is to keep your brush strokes all kind of going the same direction and all pretty uniform. Well, so this is actually a Payne's Gray. And what it'll end up being is, because she's more like she's like a gray color. So we were looking at this. Okay, so her robes are like a gray color. And what we got to do, because this will actually lighten up, so we need to bring it into the dark to catch all the valleys, and then we'll bring the highlights up. Now this has got the reflections from the flames and things like that, which we can also add that too. It's not really a brown, at least not in this scene, because I watched the scene several times. Yeah. So the inner robe is going to be like that color. And then the outer robe isn't actually, that's another separate piece. This is all her inner workings. And this is actually almost like a white color. It's going to be like a linen. So like in order to get the wool, you're catching up to it already. So in order to get that wool color, we've got to go with a brown and a gray, and then another gray. And so it's like you got to layer it. And if you layer it properly, then you'll get the effects. And then we'll put in like probably some highlights of that orangey pastel glow that's coming from the fire, because this is like when she's all covered in the flames and stuff. So we'll have to pull in the light colors then after the fact. So we've got to get all of those printed off, because these are the fire bits. So we've got to get these printed off, and then we'll have to set them on. Hello, Tiny. Good to see you. So yeah, so the idea is exactly like you're saying. We're trying to get to a wool color. It's like a gray wool. Now that we've gotten a good look at the actual scene this is from, that's what's so sometimes can be difficult about this particular project. Is since I haven't played this game, I really kind of get lost. Yeah, so we got to cool right. So because what we need to do is cool down the valleys and then warm up the peaks. So because it's not going to be this color in the end. This is just like the very bottoms, the very base of the color. And because wool has this textured color to it, you've got to kind of play with it a bit. Well, here we'll do let me get this done. We'll do this whole bottom, because that's trying enough to do it. Okay, so the next thing to do would be we want this to be, because it reads blue right now, but it's a gray is what we're using. It's actually called Payne's gray, and it is kind of a similar to like a woolen color in certain types. So you can see that difference in color there. And with the dry brush of this over top of it is going to make it even look more like wool. Again, we're trying to keep those brush strokes going in the same direction, okay? And this is like, I'm barely touching it. Focus more on the peaks, because we really want to bring that very tall peak out, right? And it's also, there's a texture to the actual model itself, and by doing what we're doing, we're able to bring those textures out of the. And you can kind of, the camera is almost picking it up. You can really see it in person, but what I'm trying to do is definitely make it. Yeah, if that makes, if any of this makes sense. Trying to explain art is always an interesting. It's hard to explain it sometimes. And the way your eye sees colors is so wild. And like, not everybody's eye sees everything the same way. And so like, some people will see something and it will read more one color than another. So it gets really difficult to kind of navigate it. But yeah, she's got another robe on top of this that's kind of like more of a brown, and then one that's almost like a brown black. And this model is definitely textured. I was wondering that before. I kept feeling on it. I was like, yeah, this feels textured. And it is actually, it's got a really nice texture to it. And we've done good to not blow that out. That's another thing with making sure you're keeping your coats thin, is that like, if you get this too if you do that too globby, too thick, then you'll lose all this texture. And it's had 3-4 coats of paint on it, primer, and 3 coats of base paints on it before this final bit. Yeah, that's exactly what we're trying to do. Is just kind of bring that out. We may even need to come over the top of it with an even lighter version of that gray one more time, or maybe even like maybe put just a very light bit of brown wash in the bottoms. But maybe probably not, because when you look down into these spots here and like these spots here, you can see where the brown is still bleeding through. You know, the brown is mixing with that dark blue gray, because we haven't actually come to dry brushing this section here at all. So you can see how we're going to be able to pull. It's going to have both those colors of the. Yeah, it makes sense. I think you know what I'm saying. It makes sense in my head, I guess. I don't know. Organic material is always so interesting. Like bone is an interesting thing to paint. If you want bone to look right, it's got to be yellow, white, and brown, like all at the same time. Somehow. And like, in order to make that happen, you know, we make all these different paint colors that are like, oh, this is bone. It's not really. In order to make a good bone color, you've got to layer different colors in together to make that work. It's weird because like some places it feels like they didn't quite get enough texture on. In some places it feels like it's got tons of texture. It might be just the way. I don't know a whole lot about designing prints, so I don't know how it works. Plus, I think we're getting ready to hit a little bit of the cult of the hidden paint over here because she's got a big cloak. Pretty sure all this is going to be covered up. Which is always funny. What has everybody else been up to? Everybody having a great day? Everybody having a good week? How was November? Now that it's over. Do I have a fine art? Kind of. My aunt is a professional artist. She like all over the world, all sorts of people buy, you know, her art, celebrities, movie stars, all sorts of stuff. So I trained with her a lot. I spent a lot of time learning how to paint with her. And then I went into, I was going to try and be an artist, a fine artist, but I had some issues in high school, and I ended up not being able to go to college proper. I ended up going to work instead, and I became a chef. Good night, buddy. Have a good one. Happy holidays. It's wonderful to see you, brother. So anyway, so I became a chef, but I still had all of this, you know, training in art and stuff like that. So I ended up becoming what they call grand manger chef. I focused on grand manger and charcuterie. So like I did like all the, you know, the big buffet work and stuff like that, because I was able to do ice sculpting and vegetable and fruit carvings, and I was still able to do some of my some of the art stuff that I really liked doing, and make a decent living at it, because, you know, being an artist, I make a lot of money. So yes and no. I definitely have some of the training, and I also did a lot of self-exploration on art Um, I've always kind of wanted to be an artist, which is what's so great about this. You know, kind of medically retired. I had to I had to find something to do with myself because I was going crazy, doing nothing. I have to have something to do, or I get super melancholy. Is the best word for it. I will get depressed, and I won't do anything but sit around and watch the news and get irritated at life and worry about everything. So so my friends were like, because I was painting stuff for our D&D games and things, and my friends convinced me to, you know, why not just open up a studio and, you know, paint stuff for other people, and you could film it and do it on YouTube, and, you know, because you're an interesting person and you're good at talking. And, well, I think they said speaking. No, they probably said talking. I'm thinking they should have said speaking. Is probably what that is. Anyway, people think I'm pretty good at speaking. I was known as instructor for a while, an art culinary instructor. So I'm used to speaking, and it didn't bother me. And then, you know, I got a little bit of that teaching background too, so it really is, you know, it sounded like a good idea. It's like, okay, well, this actually sounds like a good idea. I could do, you know, at first I just started out with shorts, showing off some of the work I was doing, and then when I figured out kind of how to do the streaming thing, we started doing the streaming thing. But like 3 years ago, I was running a restaurant. So it's been a wild journey. Oh yeah, that's gonna look great. That texture is awesome. Looks so good. I'm really happy with that. Okay. That's gonna be really helpful. I think we are gonna have to come in and probably do that trim. I don't know. I kind of like the brown under it. It gives it a little bit more. Those color breaks are good. Color breaks are good. I don't know. We'll have to think about that one. I need to get motivated to finish this giant that I said I was going to do when we got to 250 subscribers. Now we're at 280 subscribers, and I haven't done any of that. Well, I think I did like one session or one part of the filming. But yeah, I gotta get to work on that one. Alright. Shoe. I had the right one in my hand first. Back to making some ultra thin. Like I said, we could come in later on, and we can add that flame color in some places. I need to let this dry a second before I do anything else to it. But yeah, I always did art. Even while I was a chef, I was still making, you know, I painted miniatures for a while till I had kids, and my ex-wife was kind of you gotta take care of the kid, yeah. Then I started working too damn much, but I still kind of kept trying to get get time to do art stuff. And dipping toes in all alone is rough. It was good. It was. I actually prefer doing oil pastels and soft pastels, which are like chalks and stuff, chalks and like oil crowns and things like that. I do a lot of sunsets and landscape pieces and things like that sort of thing. I love doing castles. I love painting castles. I don't know why. Actually, I think I have something like from when I was a kid around here somewhere. Hold on, let me think. One of my sketch pads I think is right over here, and I think in it is one of the pieces I did when I was in high school. I want to finish this little section of her back first. A little overstrokes. We'll have to come back and fix all that on there. That's kind of another fun part about this little studio vlog is it's kind of helping me stay on track with doing these kind of works and then getting my skills back up. I was always kind of decent at all this stuff, but for a while I was really painting at a high level. And trying to get myself back there again. I feel like I'm pretty close. I might be there, and I might just be, you know, kind of like looking at it looking at it from the future into the past. It always can be a little bit more like, oh, it was better then. It's a dangerous thing when you get older. And I might actually be better than I was, and I just can't. I have a mental block about it, which is weird. And my next thing we got to do next is get that 3D printer done, so that we can get the rest of her cloak and shoulder stuff printed. Because a lot of this stuff is going to be hidden behind a lot of that. I need to know mainly about this crack right here. There's a crack in her arm where the arms are put together. I need to figure out whether or not that cloak is going to cover that enough, or if I'm going to need to fill that in and repaint right here. I guess I could look at the model in the 3D render. It's kind of funny, this next base coat is almost bringing it right back to the color of the plastic, the resin. It's really funny. Well, funny to me. I don't know if anybody else finds that sort of thing funny. I have maybe a bit of an odd sense of humor. You definitely need that brown bleed through in the bottom of it, because wool, like I said, wool is interesting, because not only does it have kind of its own color in and of itself, but it also reflects a lot of color. And so like wool can look like a bunch of different colors depending on where you put the damn sheet. So it can, sometimes it's more gray, sometimes it's more white, sometimes it's more one color or another, and then you can dye wool, and then that has all sorts of other colors. It's like wool is like an amazing textile. Okay, so Okay, so I drew this when I think I was a freshman in high school. This is awesome. I got a little smudge or something on it. So this is what I drew a long time ago. This is all freehand. I think I was sitting in art class bored, or not art class. I was in math class. Bored, and so I started drawing all this. And that's so that's like from high school. Fun. Back when I didn't know how to draw feet and hands, so I hid them. Clever. Ah. So I learned how to. I taught myself how to draw hands and feet. Hands and feet are wild. Like, there's a reason AI has a problem with it, and it's because all other artists have a problem with it. Like, it is the hardest thing in the world is drawing hands. You spend if you want to get into super fine art, you will spend like an entire semester probably drawing hands and feet. It's crazy how hard it is to do. And it's just because, like, digits can do so many things. They're so wild. I mean, just watching it on the camera, you can just see how crazy they can get. And, like, a computer can't. It's like, what is happening? Because it's so weird. And it's almost like they have a mind of their own in a way. It's like you're asking them to do something, but they do it the way they need to. Hands are strange. And feet are just are equally as weird, but in a completely different way. And you'll see all sorts of, like, even like the old masters, they had a different way of it. Yeah, yep. It's hard, I'm telling you. It's hard. Drawing fingers and hands and feet, man. Hard to do. That's what you get. Anybody that can do it, you got to give them. Hey, good job. That's an awesome looking hand. That's really impressive. I think that's one of the things that, like, really separates a finer model from like junk. When you look at like junk models, you can look at the hands and the hands will be junk. Like this guy. So this is a WizKids model. You can see the hand on that is terrible. Terrible. I think I have another couple of runners somewhere. Let's go. There it is. So, like, in this one, they're even hiding part of the hand. And it's still awful. It's just like glob. But then you look at, it's like this is a 3D print. And these guys are a little bit better. Okay. It's not awesome, but not bad. But then you go into, like, let's find a Warhammer piece. So, like, Warhammer hands they're good. They look a lot more like hands. You know? So, there's an art to hand making. Okay, here's this. This is a loot piece. And even his hand, tiny as it is better than this hand. And it's the same size. And you can see some definition. I don't know if you can see on the camera, but you can see some definition. Infinity. I'll check them out. I think I've seen them before. I don't spend a lot of money. I have so many dang mini files now. I'm so far behind on all that. And then I got started on Warhammer again, and like, oof. Unless it's a commission nowadays, I very rarely buy mini files. But yeah, I think I know Infinity. Yeah. And then another good one is Loot. Loot's the one who did that wizard I was just showing, and they've got some good stuff. Loot Studios did some really amazing shit. And then if you want kind of fun, Artisan Guild, they've got some neat pieces. I've got some really neat Artisan Guild pieces right here somewhere. There's so many cool stuff, cool sculptors out there these days. They make some really neat stuff. So like this. Okay, so this is a loot piece. This lizard we did the other day is a loot piece, and you can see how well its little fingers are. Oop, get it on. You guys watched me paint this one, so if I can get it to find those tiny little feet. Find the feet, Mr. Camera. There we go. You know, and they're well defined. Even though I broke off one's toe. We did put the red spot on it though, so it looks like it just recently got nibbled off. Or broke off in somebody. It got stuck in maybe it got stuck in the armor of a skeleton and you ripped that thing out or something. I don't know. Make up fun stuff I always make up fun stuff for the little figures. I have a bunch of neat little guys and it's just fun. Anyway. That's goofy. Okay, so I'm gonna sleep on that. I'm looking at that color. I'm gonna sleep on that. But I know we need to do so. This is gonna look like this. I really kind of want to play with that fire color. Maybe it's. Maybe not cadmium. We'll definitely be using cadmium as a fire. That might be too orange. Maybe vermilion. Okay, so that's vermilion, which this is going to be a little rare. And it's still just a little too much, so we need kind of like probably put a little bit of Naples in it, maybe? That's too dried out. There we go. That's kind of right. Oh God, ads. Broken. Is anybody else getting a million King Arthur Legends Rise ads when they watch YouTube lately? Or is it just me? Okay. Yeah. Talk. There we go. So I watched this like 7 times. This is like 8, maybe 9 or 10. I have premium, so not me. God, I love you. That's amazing. No, I ain't doing no ads. I'll pay. I don't care. I love it. Okay, so she doesn't have quite that many flames. So the model is going to be like right in that area where she's, or maybe after. Yeah, so we're talking. This is the scene we're definitely looking at because there's all the flame. I'm wondering if we should do maybe a little bit of wreathing because yeah, we're doing this scene right here, because that's her with her arm outstretched. That's it right there. So yeah, we definitely need to get that peachy flame color in there. Might need to be a little bit more yellow. Alright, well I'm gonna have to watch that like a million more times before I make a decision. But it's gonna be something close to this. Maybe we'll try it on the back or something first. I'm not sure. That's funny. I keep thinking about that myself, paying for premium, because I'm like, God, I'm tired of these ads. And it's the same ads. It's like, Jesus, could you give me just a little bit of variety? Just a tiny bit. Oh. Now I say that, and they're probably going to show me some really awful commercial next. And it's going to be worse. I'm going to be like, oh my God, I wish you just kept on with Arthur's Rise Kingdoms or whatever. Oh, still too wet. Probably too wet from when I cleaned it. Or rinsed it. Gotta be super careful with these dry brushes. It's gotta be dry. That's kind of why I do it on my hand like that, because I'm kind of testing the dryness. I used to do it on a paper towel. Now I just do it on my hand. I feel like it really does help me find that perfect wetness for it. It's like, oh, that's the good stuff. I love how international our little community is. That's amazing. It's like complete opposite time that day for Andre. Every now and again we'll get Hikarian and stuff like that from overseas. It's so neat. I love all of you guys. You guys are amazing. This little group of community folks is, like I said, man, it's kind of therapeutic. I could have easily gotten just lost in my own madness over having to change my life. But having this and a little community and a little bit, just friends, really helps. One of my best friends and almost like my brother died in that restaurant. And so like, I lost, I don't know, that year I lost a lot because that same year we closed that same year. So I don't know, it was wild. The whole situation was just crazy. Definitely changed my perspective on life a lot. I try to treat every day like a gift now, and just stay active, do something, create something, enjoy my time, It's expensive. $19 a month? Holy moly. I watch a lot of YouTube, and it is definitely not worth $19 a month. There's not that many ads, and you can skip them most of the time. Shoot. The only reason I would pay for premium... Okay, so I would pay for premium if I were, like, using, like, say they have all those music channel things where they have, the lo-fi beats or whatever. If I were like using that as the music in, say, my shop, my dispensary, or my whatever kind of game store, whatever, like you could use that. You'd have a screen or one or two screens somewhere showing the imagery, and then just have the music play. If I had like I don't know, a little, any kind of shop, any kind of little trinket shop or whatever. There's all sorts of different types of shops you can use that for. That I could see, you know, $19 is not actually a bad price, because you could do like, because like if you're gonna pay one of the big radio people, or the like Sirius XM or something like that, and you're gonna pay for it, it's the same price, and you're paying things. So with the YouTube, you know, at least you'd be able to watch fun stuff too without the ads. But yeah, if it was just for me, I'm too cheap. But I'm, you know, again, I'm a cheapo, so that's just who I am. I try to do everything kind of the cheap way when it comes to stuff like that. I don't like living. I don't like living too expensively. I'd rather spend my money on food. buying really crazy good food, or burning it away on investments because you know you picked the wrong stock. Which luckily I haven't done that in a while. I grabbed Target when it was at its bottom. It's coming up. It's been doing really well. Same with Warner Brothers. So anyway, that is not stock advice. That's just, you know, my observation. I do not give stock advice. I'm not good enough to give it to you. So please don't follow any of my stock tips. But I'm learning. I'm getting better at it. I don't lose any money anymore. I usually make just a tiny bit, which that's kind of the idea, right? Make a little bit at a time. Anyway, you guys are awesome. Really appreciate you. I'm gonna shut it down for today. I gotta go get ready for, we got paint party at New World Comics and Games in Oklahoma City, or Midwest City. So if you watch the show and you're in Midwest City from 1 till about 5:30, come on by New World Comics Games. Hang out and paint with us. We have some fun. Some good guys. So anyway, big shout out to everybody who came by. Great to see Arden today. And Rondre. I remember we had a conversation about how you pronounce that name. It was really funny. But so anyway, it's great to see you. And then Odd Tiny as always. Really, really nice to see you, my friend. And then, you know, always a special thanks to my my counterpart, Sir McBeardsly, who helps me kind of keep this channel going and keeping everything on the straight and narrow. You guys are awesome. Really appreciate it. And we'll be back tomorrow, Friday show tomorrow. And we'll get a little further. Maybe by then we'll know more about what's up with that printer too. That'd be fun to talk about. It's kind of, I think that's interesting. Is that, you know, let me know. Anyway, yeah. We'll talk to you guys later. Have a good one.